vibration of creation, the cosmic hum. The eternal cyclic rhythm of earth, moon, and sun. Earth song is the ancient conversation between shore and sea. The love ballad between flower and bee. Earth song is the melody of mountains that rise and fall.
Hello, beautiful women, and welcome back to another interview in Embody, the Empress, where we're looking at how to blossom and flourish in harmony with the natural world. Today, I am so excited to bring you an amazing guest all the way from Mexico. We're just having a conversation about the fact that we're both sitting in warmth today. It's been interesting to have these interviews coming to you from all over the world, and sometimes people are sitting in the snow, and sometimes we're melting in this beautiful heat that we have here at the moment. So what I want to do is first give you a little insight into who Judy is. And Judy is a lifelong student of developing deeper awareness and connection to the infinite realm, which she has evolved into an unconventional approach to healing. So welcome, Judy, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Edwina. It is so brilliant and wonderful to be here, and I'm really excited. Thank you.
I'm excited too, because the way I had another guest on this show that said, you have got to find this woman, Judy, and have a look at her story. And the first story that you share, that you've pinned on your Facebook page, which I hope all the audience will go and read, is so incredibly powerful and evocative and gives an amazing picture of my first question that I'm asking all the women in this series, and that is for us to go back in time to that period of 14 to 21, when we're really given a huge start to the picture of who we are in the world, our beliefs, our thoughts, our interpretation of what the world has on offer for us. And I know that this was a particularly extraordinary period in your life. So if you would take us back intuitively wherever you feel like you want the story to start in that 14 to 21, and we'll unfold from there.
Wow, it is really amazing that is where we start, because that was a very pivotal time for me that changed everything, that allowed me to be where I am now. So that story talks about, that post that you talk about on Facebook talks about when I'm 21, thereabouts 21, and it was a step to freedom, right? It felt like Nelson Mandela's walk to freedom. It's really quite a powerful moment for me. So if I go back to 14 or thereabouts, it's really phenomenal, because around about that, about 14 or 15, I had the most extraordinary supernatural experience, a mystical experience, just the phenomenalist experience. So if I put that into context for a moment, so the history behind that was that from a very young age, 3 or so, I was sort of locked up and being abused and used and tortured in the most horrendous ways, and I was isolated from society and not going to school or anything like that. So, and tortured and abused in all ways. It was very horrific, and it was many times borderline lucky to survive and to live and stuff like that. And it got to a point where when I was about 14 or 15, that I literally every single day felt like for me, I lived only because my heart beat. I felt like a piece of meat. I literally lived because my heart was beating. I'd go to bed at night and just plead for my heart to stop beating. It was just so much. Just to live like that is not living, right? It was just horrendous. And then one particular night, out of the blue, one particular night, there was another session of torture, abuse, and physical, sexual, mental, you name it. It lasted like 10 hours. And I got up in the morning and I was exhausted, I was drained, I was beyond it. And I walked into the bathroom and I remember looking at the mirror. And as I looked in the mirror, I saw myself, and it was almost like I saw myself for the very first time ever. And I was looking at myself and I found myself looking into my eyes, and it was almost like my arm or my hand was reaching into my eyes and reaching down into my solar plexus, and I grabbed something. Now, for many, many, many years, I called it my something. I didn't have an education. I wasn't articulate. I could hardly read or write. And so I grabbed something. And in a moment I grabbed this something, I was transported out of my body. And I found myself outside. Now, this was a Friday morning in Dublin in November. It was a cold, rainy, wet, grey morning. And there I was looking at myself in the mirror, tattered, torn, pale, blue, nighty, blood and bruises on my face. And I was transported outside. And in that experience, I experienced something so gloriously beautiful, the oneness of all. I felt one with everything. I felt one with the trees, one with the rain that was on the windows, one with the birds, one with everything. That oneness was deeply profound. And the next minute, I remember this sensation that I had never felt before, could never have explained. And still to this day, words will never be powerful, potent enough to be able to articulate the depth of that experience. But it was like this wrapped in something so deeply profound that was unconditional love. And it was so moving, so potent, so powerful. And I remember looking at myself, this scrawny kid, looking at herself in the mirror from outside, looking into the bathroom. And in that moment, everything, in that moment, I healed for everything I had been through, was going through, and everything I was yet to go through. Every time and space collapsed into that moment, and it was done. There was completeness. And I got to experience what it was like in the primordial field. I saw everything. I saw all the suffering and I saw all the joy. I saw the prosperity. I saw the love. I saw everything. And in that moment, I remember knowing, trusting without a shadow of a doubt that I would live the most exquisite, adventurous, luxury life you can imagine. I knew it. I claimed it. From being able to see the primordial field. I knew it. It was done. And in that moment, it was like love. At the time, my life would be love, luxury, and adventure. At the time, I didn't have the word for prosperity. Now I use the word prosperity because that's what it meant for me. It's not just luxury, it's prosperity. Love, prosperity, and adventure. I knew that would be my life. So as I came back into my body, right, that's weird, okay. But it was just done and I didn't question it. But what happened next was really funny, and it shows the sense of humor that the universe has. Between the time of me walking away from the mirror and to the bathroom door, I knew that I would escape. I knew I would. I didn't know when, it didn't matter when, because time is irrelevant. I knew I would escape, and I knew that I would get a job in merchant banking, stockbroking, oil and gas, or shipping. Now, I had no idea what they meant. Like, what's merchant banking? A bank is a bank is a bank. Like, what's shipping other than a ferry, you know, bringing people from there to there? I had no idea. What is stockbroking? I had no idea. And given what I know now about all those industries, right? At the time, after such a deeply profound mystical experience that was love and wholeness and healing, to have this, it was weird. Sorry, one sec. It was the weirdest thing, but I trusted it and I knew it. But I knew one thing, that nothing that could happen to me could shake that sensation that I was experiencing after that experience. So no matter how many times I suffered the same experiences after that, nothing ever moved me from that experience of love. What happened, I realized that joy, bliss, happiness, peace is an internal state, no matter what's going on outside. Sorry, I just have to clear my throat. 1 second, Edwina.
We actually postponed Judy's interview from last week because she's had this dreadful flu. So we can give you grace.
Thank you. No matter what was going on in my environment, I still was able to connect to that joy, to that peace, and nothing could take that away. No challenge. We are greater than any challenge that we could experience, and I lived that. Sure, during the moment of the torture and all that, it's not nice, it's unpleasant, but like that, I would connect back to my truth. What I found, what I realized subsequently, that something was my source, my essence, the truth of who I am. And that is more powerful than anything we could experience in this life. And for the next few years, I taught myself how to read, how to write. I taught myself how to understand business, to understand economics, understand money. I did all that out of nowhere on my own, teaching myself all sorts of things. I taught myself how to paint, how to play violin, how to knit, all the things I taught myself because I understood that we're always connected to the universal wisdom of all time. All knowledge, all wisdom, all intelligence that ever has been, ever will be, is at our fingertips when we tap into it. I did escape 6 years later. And that's what that story is about, is when I escaped, that experience of getting to the airport with nothing. I had a copy of Wuthering Heights, the book Wuthering Heights. I had one of my paintings. I had some tattered old clothes and just about no money. Getting the money is a whole other story between escaping and getting to the airport. But anyway, that's another story. But it was just the most incredible experience getting to that airport. I landed in London. Again, it was a November night at 8 o'clock on a Friday night, nowhere to go. Within a week, I knew no one, nowhere to go. But within a week, I had 2 job offers. Almost 6 figures. No education, no socialization. I was an unsocialized young woman. And I had 2 job offers. One of them was in shipping, and one of them was trading in an oil and gas trading company in London West End. And that was the one I took.
So you were applying for these jobs just with faith and trust?
It was natural.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I decided, I trust this, I have faith in this. It was, of course.
Yeah.
It was like normal. It was as normal as me taking my next breath. The only time I had a little twinge was when I walked into the office and I sat down and I saw this big clunky thing on the desk. And I was like, well, what's that? It's a computer. Oh, I'd never seen one, right? At that moment, I sort of scratched my head and thought, oh, okay. But within a few days, I was reporting our positions, our trading positions, to the CEO in New York every single day at midday. You know, there's nothing we cannot achieve, overcome, and embody, embrace, and master when we are moving from the truth of our essence, not from our identities, not from our stories, not from our experiences, but from the truth of who we are. So that's what transpired in those 7 years.
There is so much in there that I feel is incredibly valuable. Well, I mean, for multiple reasons, but particularly to this particular conversation of life is happening for us, not to us. And to be able to come through an experience like that in such a place of I don't even know that I have the words. You know, if faith and trust aren't the words, I'm not sure what the words are, but with the inner
Truth. I think truth, Edwina.
Yeah.
It's coming from a place of truth.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, not at all, because I was looking for the word. So if you got to that place, when you got to that place, and you got a job, what was the journey from there? Because that feels like a long way from the work that you are doing now.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Yes. It is and it isn't, right?
Yeah.
It is and it isn't. But so I got this job and I had so much money. Right, I was earning lots of money, and I was learning to live, learning to socialize, learning to communicate with the opposite sex, learning to build relationships, and all of that. So, and it was a magnificent time. It was glorious. It was phenomenal. I knew though there was more. Always knew there was more. And then after 10 months, an amazing thing happened. I was fired. And from the job, not because I couldn't do the job, but because I wasn't a conformist. I didn't play in the sandpit with all the other peoples. So I didn't know how to do political positioning and maneuvering and all that. I just did not know how to do that, because all I knew was to come from a place of truth. And living from the place of infinite possibilities. Everything's possible. There's no conditions. There's no contraction. There's no if, buts, maybes. There's truth. That's it. And it just, and I upset the apple cart many, many times. So I was paid very handsomely to leave. And there was a collective sigh of relief the moment I walked out the door, right? Here's the interesting thing about that though. One might think that I would be devastated and crawl into a corner and cry and all that sort of stuff. No, I walked out and I'm thinking, oh, that's interesting. Okay, what's next? And I got another job within a week with all this money still that I put into the bank account. I got another job within another week, also in oil and gas, earning about the same money. And it was doing slightly different work. It was interesting for a while and everything, until I was fired from that job. And for again, about 10 months later. And this happened to me about 5 times. So eventually now I was living in South Africa. I was always called to go to South Africa. I always felt that from when I was very young, that I was dropped in the wrong country, that I belonged in South Africa. And the day that apartheid was abolished and there was a democratic elections set, was the time that I moved over to South Africa and started a whole life there. And got jobs over there, and the same thing happened. Got fired. And I remember the last time I walked out from a corporate, and again with my money in my hand, I was beginning to make a business out of this, money in my hand, and I walked out, collective sigh of relief the moment I left the building, and I looked up at Table Mountain, the sun was setting behind it, and I just said, okay, this cannot be it, right? Really. Yeah. And I just got a feeling, a sensation that says, just do your own thing. Okay, I'll do my own thing. I didn't know what it meant. And this is like still mid-90s, right? Or late 90s. Do your own thing. So, okay. So the next thing I thought about was I never had toys as a child growing up, so I'm going to have a toy business. I'm going to do a business called Dial a Teddy, and that was the first ever business I ever did, was called Dial a Teddy. And it was brilliant. It was before internet, before websites, before payment gateways and all that sort of stuff. And it was just brilliant. That was my first foray into entrepreneurship. And I've done so many different things. I've been in so many different industries, and every time I go into an industry, there's a pioneering. I like change the law, change the landscape of the industry in various countries. That's what I've done for the past 20 odd years, and continue to do it. So yeah.
You know, as you were talking through your story, it was making me think of, you know, I'm a student of archetypes and stories, and I don't know if you've read Women Who Run with the Wolves, or you know, you have, so that the handless maiden, and I'm thinking of, you know, I'm actually studying this at the moment with a group of women, and part of that story is the father cuts off her hands and she becomes a handless maiden, and there is something that happens there when she goes into the forest, when she has no choice, because she's lost her hands. She has no choice to do anything but receive. And I feel like there was a point when you were 14 when that was the literal experience of, you know, everything had been taken away, all your power, or all of it. And so you were just a completely open vessel to receive. And I think that picture, you know, it is not always easy to hear stories or to read stories like this and find the gold in them and to find the lessons in them. But when we look for them, they're there. And so your experience was so extreme, but then the flip side was also unbelievably extreme. And so I think, you know, for women that want to find ways to process and think about their own stories, in, you know, things that happen, that how on earth can I think about this as something that happened for me? This is the avenue. This is the path, through hearing other people's stories and the experiences that we have, that we find the gold. We find the gold in them. And so, you know, when I listen to your story of, you know, the 5 different jobs and then starting the entrepreneurial career, what I am hearing is the universe going, I'm going to give you a bit and then it's time to move on, and I'm going to give you a bit more and then it's time to move on, because this is not what you're here to do. But you need to learn this, you need to learn this, you need to learn this, and every step of the way you're becoming wiser and stronger and more resilient and more filled with all the things that you need to do the work that you're here to do, which is where you arrived.
Yeah. It's about expanding your energy. So if I look back if people say to me, how did I have that experience? What was it? Because everyone wants to be able to have an experience like that, because we have this conditioning that we believe it when we see it type of thing, right? So, and people say to me, well, what was it? And it was one simple thing. You explained it beautifully in terms of the archetypes, right? From my perspective, how I would share it is it's just complete surrender. It's complete surrender. Just let go and surrender. Complete surrender. And as you said, there's nothing else. You've got nothing else. And this is one of my unconventional perspectives on healing, is that it's never the trauma that creates the pain. It's the meaning we apply to it. Okay, so when we are in that moment, when we're in the moment of that experience, you're not alone. You are connected to your diamond essence. You're connected to the oversoul. You're connected to the whole of who you are. The magnificence. This is just an itsy bitsy facet of all of who you are. Right? So this little thing is happening to this little piece of you. But when you surrender, you become connected to the wholeness of who you are. And there is nothing more powerful than that. Nothing. But it's after the fact that we start applying meaning to it, that's where the torture and the suffering comes in, and the hell on earth starts coming in. So I want to take you forward, because this is interesting. I feel called to share this bit. So many years later, I'm out in South Africa and having a magical life. All right, I start this business and I do another business and I've got all these businesses, and then I get into sport. I get into my sport. I represent South Africa at World Championships diving, scuba diving. I'm paragliding. I'm a competitive paragliding pilot. I'm sponsored by corporates. I'm doing all sorts of things. I'm competing in water skiing. I'm running ultra marathons. I've got my own business. I've got a beautiful house on the slopes of Table Mountain. Everything is wonderful and magnificent and all the things in all the ways. And it was this next phase of my life was particularly triggered by paragliding. And I used to dream of flying all my life as a child, I still do, but flying and just feeling the sensation of flying. So I've flown all sorts of things in all sorts of ways. And the paragliding community, when I started paragliding, it was very early days of paragliding. So the chutes, the gliders were very prototypes. So, and they were very expensive. So it was very much in those days, what you'd call the yuppies who were paragliding, right? Show my age, but anyway. But it would be the opposite. And it was very cliquey, very, what I suppose in a way one might call it materialistic. But anyhow, I found myself not connecting. And I would observe this, right? And not connecting to people. I had lots of acquaintances, but not mates, not friends. And I couldn't relate to them, they couldn't relate to me, because they are all full of can'ts, not possibles, and all the identities and the programs. Me, infinite possibilities at all time. People say you can't do that. I prove that's not true. It's an illusion. And then I decided, and I'll never forget, this one day I'm sitting having a cup of coffee at an Italian coffee shop called Mario's in the Victoria and Alfred waterfront in Cape Town. And I decide I'm going to be normal. I make a decision, a conscious decision. I am now going to be normal. I'm going to have friends.
Well, I want to know how this worked out for you.
Not good.
Yeah, no.
Not good. All right. So what happened was I decided to be normal, and it's almost like a switch. Okay.
Yeah.
You want that? Done. And good. So next thing, I started getting friends, and I started having dates and nights out, and people were asking me to parties and dinners and all this sort of thing. And it was like, and then it was great. It was wonderful initially. Oh boy, it was great initially, like for the first 10 days or whatever. But then it didn't get enough. There wasn't enough, and I had to have more, And unless I had 3 or 4 bookings for every single night, or 3 or 4 different things to go, I was not happy. So it became insatiable. So everything became insatiable. It was a hole in the bucket that could not be filled. That's what it felt like. And things got madder and madder and madder. And I started doing more and more dangerous sport, more and more dangerous things. I started flying dangerously. It got to the point where Judy's in the sky, let's leave, right? So no one else would fly near me. So it just became crazy. Then that wasn't enough. And life just became spinning and spinning and spinning and crazy. And it was just like, I would just say, just stop. What's going on here? I just need the world to stop for a minute. And then I found a little way out, not an advisable way out, but I found a way out, and I started taking overdoses. And it would just stop the world for a while, so I could just like be calm. And then that wasn't enough. Then I would like take multiple overdoses in like crazy ways. So I go to hospital, be taken to hospital, stomach pump, the whole thing. Not that I wanted to die, I just wanted the world to stop, right? I need time to think. And it was like, whilst I'm in hospital, I'm getting drugs delivered to the hospital in ICU. I take another overdose. Another time I was just got home from the ICU, from hospital. That same day, I took another overdose. It got crazy for about 16, 17 months. Crazy. And then I took the last overdose. And ended up back in ICU. By now, the nurses know me and they've no time for me, right? As you can imagine, they're dealing with people who are really ill, right?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget waking up, again, charcoal all over my yellow top. And I had an epiphany. And the epiphany was along the lines of, I'd rather have the whole world against me than my own soul. Because whilst and I remembered that during the time between 14 and 21, I was living in an external hell, but internally I was in heaven. And here I was, I had everything. I had money, I had material stuff, I had success, I had it all. But when I decided to become normal, I had all the things on the outside that appeared to be heaven, but inside I was in hell. And that was a turning point for me, where everything changed and everything came together. And from then on, I've been on this journey, if that makes sense.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. So did you leave Cape Town at that time?
No. I didn't. I had, whilst I was taking all these crazy overdoses, I met a beautiful, wonderful man, and who was madly in love with me. He was now my husband. We've been together 25 years. But I couldn't. I was in no state to be in any relationship, and all I knew, like during that time, I was in relationships, but they were like not nice relationships, right? And we became friends for a couple of years, and I remember soon after that, I took that last overdose, and I was starting to get my life back together again. We really deeply connected, and very quickly after that, we were in a relationship, and we were still in Cape Town. But since then, we've moved around a lot. I mean, I've lived in the UK, I've lived in Italy, I've lived in Barbados, I'm now living in Mexico. So we move around quite a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I want to go back to surrender a little bit, because I know that this is something that I've struggled with, and it's been handed to me multiple times, through all of the personal development work that I've done, is this idea of you get to surrender. And I know when I first heard it was about 2019, and it felt like, you asking me to give up? I don't understand. I don't understand this concept of surrender. In my mind, it meant to almost quit, to give up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not that.
I know. But it's been a long process for me to get to a point where I understand it. But I know that there's going to be people listening that are, great, surrender. What do I do with that? So I'd love you to dive in there.
So in my model of the world, slightly different. So a lot of my, I've spent 25 years studying metaphysics, spirituality, quantum physics, science, and I'm very clear about my model of the world and how it works. We create our own suffering, right? We've created it starting five or so thousand years ago, many centuries, when we started to deify suffering.
Yeah.
And now we are programmed to suffer.
Yeah.
Okay. We are literally it's in our DNA. I clear that in people. I'm able to clear that program in people from suffering. That goes back how many generations. So the program to suffering has multiple layers of impacts. So we attach meaning to all sorts of different things, and that meaning becomes identity, becomes various forms of identities for us. So the meanings that we attach to it becomes a story. That story then becomes a personality or a characteristic around us, and we have to then defend that. And this is this is what I call energetic interference. It strips us from our autonomous sovereignty. It strips us from being autonomous in owning that which is our truth and living and moving in that which is our truth. All of these things and all of these ways and all the stories, all the beliefs, points of views, and all the judgments, feelings, perceptions, all the thoughts, they're all energetic interference that are stripping us and holding us at ransom, kidnapping us from our truth and holding us at ransom. We have to let go of all of that. It's a big task, but it's possible.
Yeah.
My clients do it all the time.
Yeah.
It's possible. It's not about giving up.
Yeah.
It's not at all.
Yeah.
It's surrendering your attachment to all the programs, conditionings, identities, all that we call ego, which is another story. All those identities we let go of, all the meanings, all the stories, all the programs, all the conditionings, all the illusions, all that which we perceive as real, that is not, let all that go. And what are you left with? People think you're left with nothing. Oh boy, that's so not true. You're left with everything.
In the work that I do, I talk about the 3 levels of creation through thought, word, and deed. And so when I apply that to your story, it gives extraordinary context. It's like you have lived a life that gives us this picture in like fireworks. It's so extreme. So if we think about the thoughts being the foundation for the life we create, you got to 14, and then divine gave you, the universe gave you this thought that created a completely different picture, and then the words and the deeds follow. So the thought that I am going to escape opened the door to your escape. The thought that you were going to work in shipping or whatever those jobs were opened the door to those things. You never questioned it. And so then the words and the deeds follow. You escape, you get there, you apply for jobs in trust, and it just keeps going. And then you have a thought that you want to be normal. And I laugh because one of my favorite sayings is, call me anything. I don't care what you call me, but for heaven's sakes, don't call me normal. It's the last thing that I want. And, who knows what I'm manifesting from that. But what you manifested was this complete opposite to what your internal environment wanted. And that was chaos.
Yeah.
Thoughts, words, deeds. And you have given us the most extraordinary picture of manifestation in real terms, rather than it just being words. You've now given us this extraordinary evocative picture of how this all unfolds. And then you've taken it to the next level, where you're going to take us through a beautiful experience where this can happen instantaneously, where we can find this something that for most people is going to feel like like the eye roll moment of, really? Let's see, let's test. All right. So my invitation is to notice the thought and open the door, don't shut the door. But I want to hand it to you, because you'll have your own ways of talking about this, that what we need, the activation that is your gift. So maybe if there is anything that I haven't asked, or you feel needs to come before the experience, is there anything?
The most important thing is that it doesn't matter what you've experienced or not experienced. It doesn't matter what you've done or not done. It doesn't matter what you've achieved or not achieved, felt or not felt. Everything changes in an instant. The moment you become aware. Aware that you are universal energy. Aware that everything is energy. Because I can take it down to science, or I can take it up to deep spirituality. Because everything I say and everything I do is a combination of personal evolution, spirituality, and metaphysics rooted in science, right? You don't have to be a spiritual person to believe or feel or experience what I have felt and experienced, and to achieve the most magnificent life of love, prosperity, and joy and adventure. You don't have to be a spiritual person. You don't have to understand metaphysics. You don't have to even know anything about it. All you have to know, and this has been proven over and over, that everything is energy. When you lean into that, it does not matter whether you're religious, not religious, an atheist, whatever it is, none of that matters.
Yeah.
But an undeniable truth is that everything is energy. It's been proven left, right, and center all over the place for a long, long, long time. Everything is energy. Starts with energy. Matter is just dense energy. So when you understand that everything is energy, then surely then us connecting energetically to the thought, to the feeling, to the emotion of that which we would love makes logical sense.
Yeah.
Even if like your life is chaos right now and it feels like there's no way out, well, doing the same thing over and over again is not going to create a different solution. It takes a different state of mind. And the easiest way to do that doesn't cost you a cent, is to understand that it's energy and connect to the energy of that which you would love. And that's what we're going to do today.
So I'm going to hand the experience over to you. I'll go off screen for a little bit, but before we go there, I just want to anchor everybody back into, this is about embodying the Empress. The Empress is the Earth Mother archetype. In her, we learn to blossom and flourish in harmony with the natural world. This is the truth of this whole experience, is this, that the universe, Mother Nature, God, whatever you want to call it, is providing everything we need. It's not about being man-made. It's not a magic pill. It's not a something. This is available to all of us. And I just want to anchor us back into that. So I'm going to hop off and receive this extraordinary experience.
Okay. Thank you so much, Edwina, for this. I'm really looking forward to taking you guys through this experience. So we'll start an activation now. So what I want to do is I'm going to get you to connect, during the activation, we're going to connect to the frequency of unconditional self-love. The extent of which you can love yourself is the extent of which you can love life. The extent of which you can love life is the extent of which you collapse time and space in creating everything that you would love, everything that is your truth to create, right? So that's what we're going to be doing and experiencing. Whilst we're going through this activation, you're going to start feeling your body responding to it. You might find yourself yawning, you might find yourself burping, you might find yourself hiccuping even, and that's okay. It's all perfect because we're clearing out energetic interference, which I touched on during this chat with Edwina today. So we're going to be, you'll be experiencing that, okay? So what I want you to do is take a deep breath. I want you to come out of your head and into your body. Be one with your body. I want you to feel yourself present and grounded in your body. From the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers, the top of your head, occupying the fullness of your body. I want you to feel yourself in your own authentic reality, in your own authentic universe. Feel your feet, feel your legs, feel your bottom. Relax your belly, your chest, your shoulders, your neck, your jaw, your teeth, your nose, your eyes, and your forehead. Feel yourself occupying your body. So I want you to connect to the authentic planet, the awesomely beautiful, glorious planet with the birds, the trees, the sun. And I want you to perceive yourself expanding to greater than the planet energetically. Just perceive yourself expanding and just letting go of any limitations that are restricting you from expanding in space. This is not about expanding in outer space, this is just about expanding in space. Expand to greater than the solar system. Just let go of any limitations around what this means and does not mean. Just experience yourself expanding. There you go. Expand to greater than the universe. Just experience yourself expanding in space, body and being expanding. There you go. Now perceive yourself expanding to greater than the multiverse. And perceive that amount of space that there is below you, back behind you, in front of you, to the left, to the right, and above you. Notice how much more space there is for you to expand into. This is just perception expanding in space. I want you to expand into infinite realms. There you go, feel that. Feel that, keep on expanding. You're becoming more energy than matter. As you keep on expanding, keep expanding. I want you to expand and merge and meet the infinite being that you are. Feel that. Infinite being, infinite energy. And as you're expanding as an infinite being with infinite energy, I want you to connect to the frequency of freedom. Connecting to the frequency of freedom and experience what that feels like. Fluidity, flow, ease, joy. And as you're expanding still in the frequency of freedom, and it's going to clear out the magnetic energy field, just clearing out any interference energies in the magnetic energy field, just clear all that out. And feel your chest expanding, feel the lightness of your chest, your solar plexus. Now I want you to marry the frequency of freedom with gratitude, awe of life. Feel the awe of life, the gratitude. Feel love of life. There you go. Beautiful, exquisite, blissful, joyful freedom. Connect to the frequency of love. Unconditional love. Feel that. Feel the ease of that. Feel the flow of that. Feel the beauty and the perfection of unconditional love. Just clearing out any restrictions in the chest. Just clearing that out. There we go, let that go, let that go. Not you, not yours, just let that go. Let go of any limitations. There you go, feel that. Awesome. Beautiful. Relax your shoulders and don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Okay, just letting go of more interference creeping in here in the chest. Just let that go. Beautiful. Now I want you to perceive the blueprint of your body. Just perceive it. It doesn't have to be accurate. It could be anything. Just perceive the blueprint of your body. Your beautiful, beautiful, beautiful body. Whole, vitality, fluid, mobile. And you focus on a particular part of your body that you might have issue with, or you would love to change your relationship with it. Is it your stomach? Is it your breasts? Is it your hair? Is it your eyes? Is it your face? Whatever it is it your skin? I want you to connect to the blueprint of that part of your body. And feel the love for that part of your body right now. Feel the wholeness of your body. This is the truth. This is the frequency of truth that you're connected to with your body. Feel the wholeness. Feel the unconditional love. Feel the waves of joy for the love that you feel for that part of your body. I want you to connect your magnetic energy field with gratitude for your beautiful, exquisite body, for the wholeness of your body as it is. That blueprint is the truth of your body. Feel yourself merging with that blueprint. You are that blueprint. Now look and perceive the whole body. Your whole beautiful body. I want you to connect to the perfection of that blueprint. Perfect feet, perfect legs, perfect bottom, perfect belly, breasts, arms, hands, chest, heart, shoulders, neck, face, hair, beautiful eyes, your nose, your mouth, your uterus, kidneys, colon, spleen, lungs, and skin. Connect to the frequency of that blueprint, whole, vital, youthful, eternal. I want you to connect your physical body to that blueprint. And feel the unconditional love that that blueprint is. Your body, your truth of your body. That is your truth. Body whole, body electric. Now that you are merged with that blueprint of your body, notice how light you feel. Notice how calm, easeful, joyful it is to be in that body. Notice now how you unconditionally love your entire body. Beautiful and exquisite, just clearing out some interference in the chest area. Just clear that out, not you, not yours. Just let that go, just let that go. Let go of any limitations that are holding you back from feeling and experiencing the fullness of this. Awesome, well done, that's it, that's good, well done. Feel the gratitude for this cosmic body. How do you move? How do you feel? Clearing out any interference, just clearing all out. Clearing all that out. It's okay, don't worry about it. It's just trying to creep in to stop you experience the fullness of the magic of who you are. There you go, well done. And in this place, notice how you feel whole, There's nothing missing. Gratitude for the beautiful cosmic body and all of who you are. I want you to connect to the frequency of infinite possibilities. Universal energy, universal wisdom at our fingertips. Allowing us to connect to the frequency of infinite possibilities. Now perceive your body and your being harmonized, moving through your day in this frequency of unconditional love, unconditionally loving your body, perfect as it is, unconditionally loving all of who you are, perfect for who you are, as you are, connected to the frequency of infinite possibilities. You are magic, you are eternal, and you get to choose and decide everything in your life. Take a moment to tap into and connect to the frequency of gratitude for that. I want you to notice the vibrational zing that's in your body right now. I want you to anchor this vibrational zing to something that you love. Is it the smell of coffee? Is it a dog barking? Is it children's laughter? Is it the feeling of sun on your skin? Is it a photograph that you love? Can you anchor this to anything that you love to feel, touch, see, smell? And every single time you experience that which you love, it activates this frequency of infinite possibilities, unconditional self-love, and gratitude for the perfection of your body and all of who you are. Body Truth, could you anchor in and embody this now? Letting go of all limitations that were blocking you. Body Truth, would you do that? Would you do that now? Awesome, well done. This is the frequency of truth. Anytime you're feeling discombobulated, stressed or anxiety, this is your frequency to connect to. That will put everything back into perspective. That you are eternal, you are infinite energy, and you have access to infinite wisdom all times, no matter what. And when you're ready, come back into the room. And as you're doing that, I'm just going to clear up any points of views that you may be bringing back, anything that it means or doesn't mean, that I didn't feel that, just let that go, not you, not yours. Don't apply any meaning to it, just let that go. Just hold the zing, that vibrational zing, that beautiful frequency of love and gratitude and infinite possibilities. Brilliant. Notice how you felt and notice how you connected to the frequencies, how you felt, even if it was fleeting, for that part of your body or your body, for yourself, the gratitude, the unconditional love. Notice how you touched it. Maybe you held it for the whole time. Maybe it was just periodically. It's perfect. It's okay. Because I want to remind you that we cannot touch that which is not our truth. Just being able to touch it, touch that frequency of unconditional love, touch the frequency of love for your body, that's truth. And if you can touch that truth, it is yours. And there's so much more there for you.
It's very hard to come back.
Yeah, it is. It is.
This feeling is exquisite.
It is.
I can feel it quite literally in every cell in my body. It's like you've just activated my entire being. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you feels inadequate, but they're the words that come.
But the beautiful thing about this is that one of the reasons why you felt it hard to come back, because that feels more real than anything we can experience in this 3D life. That feels more real. It feels more real because it feels true. It's truth. So it is very possible for that to be your reality. You can move through life. It feels alien if you're living in struggle, if you're living in difficulty, and there might be drama or uncertainty. You can still live in that frequency that is more powerful, that will outweigh any of the feelings and frequencies of drama and uncertainty. And the more you get to move in that frequency, the more magic you create, the more the universe shifts everything around that makes no logical sense to match that frequency that you are moving in. It is physics. It's not woo-woo.
In the share that you put on social media, I've long been playing with the Dalai Lama's prophecy of the world will be saved by the Western woman. And you put a spin on it's about remembering, not saving. And it was interesting. I am a very visual person, and I was playing with your words and finding the truth in them. And it was interesting that I was in the shower when I was thinking about it. And the vision that came to me is this sense of humanity running towards a cliff. We've been so off course for so long. And the thing that came to me was the remembering to stop. The remembering to be in stillness, the remembering to be quiet. I feel like there's this franticness. I need the answer. What do I do? What's the pill? What's the medication? What's the course? What's the job? Where's the money? This franticness. And so that was the vision that came to me. So it was a little bit of the saving. It's like we don't have to go over the cliff. And if we stop and remember, everything changes. It's so incredibly simple, not easy. Maybe it is.
It is simple when we allow ourselves to let go of the attachments to the programs and conditioning. It makes us, the interference makes us feel like it's hard, but in truth it's not, because we are universal energy, and this interference is human made. So if you put it into context, that's human made. We are universal energy. Therefore, we're more powerful than it.
Yeah. I want to share this as well, because another vision that came, and it's all being activated by the words that you shared, written and spoken. The other vision that came as the Earth Mother archetype, as the Earth Mother is watching humanity. It's, as a mother of 4, what I was seeing was this sense of, if you just keep whacking each other with sticks, it's all going to go wrong. It starts as play, it starts as a good idea, it starts as an experiment, but it's all going to go wrong. And I feel like Mother Earth is watching us like her children go, like, it started as a good idea. Religion started as a good idea. Education started as a good idea. the medical field started as a good idea. All of these things started as a good idea, but you've gone off course. It's like somehow humanity has grabbed this and run with it in the wrong direction, and Mother Nature's trying to say stop. You've got to remember, come back. And I think there's women like you that are becoming a voice for this. I hope I'm one of those women for other people. We're coming to this place of where women's wisdom, this wisdom is coming through our voices, but I do believe it's Mother Earth. It's just stay. You've got to stop. Come back.
Yeah, back to the truth, back to your truth. Yeah, it's like there's nothing outside of us. We are the field, and everything's in our field. Everything.
Yeah, I don't know whether I want to cry or like there's this joy, but there's these tears. It's like all of it, and you are an absolute gift, Judy. I know that you have an offer for our audience that is unbelievably generous. Did you want to take a moment to let them know what that is?
I would love to. Thank you, Edwina. I absolutely adore what you're doing here, and I would love if anyone feels drawn to what I have been saying, to understanding a little bit more about what this is all about, and experience, start mastering, experiencing this themselves at will. I would love to invite them to a masterclass that I'm doing starting on the 24th of February, live masterclass, where I'll be talking about how to activate your cosmic body, how to clear yourself of energetic interference, how to connect to that frequency more frequently, and talking about what I call the trilogy of being, which is body, being, and planet, and how to harmonize that. When we harmonize the trilogy of being, that's body, being, planet, that this is, we create energetically. So when you're feeling, it's when you're connecting to the frequency of that creation through this activation, when that's more real than anything we can do in the 3D world. So there's two ways of manifesting. One is energetically, which is what we are designed to do. In other words, we connect to the frequency, we create in the field to experience with our body, harmonized trilogy of being. But we have been so conditioned, and we've moved so far away to the cliff edge, as you speak, into believing, perceiving, and thinking that we have to do all the things in all the ways at a pace, alone and struggling and competitive and all that sort of stuff. And that's a way of manifesting. It is, it works, but at what cost? So in my world, everything we talk about, my model of the world it's unconventional, right? In our model of the world, the construct of decay as you age is a false construct. Menopause for women, as it is being shown, as more and more women are experiencing it, is a false construct. We're not meant to suffer. We're not meant to suffer. That is what I call energetic interference. And I've taken people through an activation, and it clears the symptoms of that one time. So if you're feeling called that you would love to just know a little bit more about my model of the world and how we live it, and how we start creating in the field to experience with our senses, which is so much more expansive, so much more prosperous, and so much more joy and love and exciting, then I invite you to join me. I am selling it at $1,500, but I'm giving it as a gift, Edwina, to people, the tribe that you've called together for this incredible retreat that you've created. So it's my gift to you and for your listeners.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will be there. I'm just loving everything that you're creating, and I'm so grateful that the universe crossed our paths so that I got to share this conversation. As a final question that I'm asking all my speakers, and I'm fascinated by your response, is this: where are you? And what are you doing when you feel connected to that sense of total inner peace, calm, and harmony with the natural world?
One with everything. No separation. The eternal now. The beautiful present. The all that is.
Yeah.
And when you move in that space, it's the ultimate peace and calm, and it's the ultimate creator energy.
Thank you. Thank you so, so much for your generosity, for your time with us, for your story, your wisdom, all of it. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Edwina.
All right, beautiful souls, that is it from us today for another interview of Embody the Empress, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. So much love. Mwah. And bye for now.